Okay, so at certain times you're going to need to adjust the tension on the top and bottom threads. So to first off, just to check to see what's happening, just get a piece of leather and we're just going to make a line of stitching. And we can see here that the top thread is being caught or balled up on the top of the leather. So what that means is the bottom thread, which is the black thread, is being pulled up above the top of the surface of the leather, which means the top tension's too tight. To adjust that, the first thing we need to do is go to the tension nut and wind that in an anti-clockwise direction. Now I can tell by this that it's actually wound up a fair bit, so I'm going to back this right off and then continue sewing and see if that's made any difference to that balling effect. And so I can see there straight away we got some good results. The knot has disappeared, and you can still see a little bit of black there, which is not too bad, but I might just back it off just a little bit more. Every time you make an adjustment, you will need to sew again just to see what has happened and if it's improved it. Okay, so at the moment that's now pretty good. If we find it's the opposite, so I'll back this off completely and we go into here and I'll look at the underside of the thread. I can see here that this time there's little red dots. So this is the top thread being pulled through to the underside. Now that's a different sort of adjustment. So if you've tried to make the adjustments up here, nothing has changed. There's still the balling up underneath. What we can do is we can cut this piece off and then we need to open up the cover and remove the bobbin and bobbin case. And you'll see on the bobbin case, once we take that out, you'll see this was sitting in the bottom assembly like this. There's these two little screws on the side. This first one is the spring adjuster screw. So if we wind that in, it puts more pressure, excuse me. If we wind that in, it'll put more pressure onto the spring and make the thread that's coming out under more pressure, under more tension. If we back it off, it will release more easily, and then that way it will allow us to adjust the bottom tension. So we replace that. We want to pick up the bottom thread, close the cover, and as with everything that when we adjust it, we need to do a test stitch off. So place it here, holding the threads out the back as per usual. It's good to do a stitch line of at least a couple of inches, just so you can see get a true idea. Okay, I can still see little red balls, but it's not as bad as what it used to be. But also because I know I've backed this right off, I'm just going to re-tighten this again. And then we're going to try again, another sample piece. Okay, so now we're back to the original problem we had before, the top tension being too tight. It's just now a case of juggling, going backwards and forwards, until you can actually find that the stitch tension is correct. So now the balling has disappeared on the top. See what's happened on the bottom. Okay, very intermittent. So just another little final adjustment. And this should be the last time that we have to adjust it. There we go, and now that's good to go. So trim off the threads, turn the threads to the back, drop the wheel, And then we're ready to start sewing.
Cool.